I am Tiago Gonçalves, an airline pilot whose roots trace back to virtual aviation. Follow along as I try to make the simulation world as real as possible. Welcome back to this SOP series of A320 family. I decided to use FS Labs now for this one because its FMS is complete, but again, you can use any add-on you want. It may lack one or another feature, but this covers them all. Today we're going to look at the Mcdu and Fmgs setup. Despite people thinking this is the FMS or Fmgs, it's actually an Mcdu. The Mcdu is an interface that allows pilots and maintenance to interact with multiple systems and computers. The FMS is just one of them. The Fmgs setup also has a flow pattern with its own logic. We start by checking aircraft status, initialize the flight plan and inserting it, set navigation aids to support the departure, prepare a secondary flight plan for any possible changes or for immediate return in case of emergency, and after that we move to the performance bit by initializing and setting it up. When selecting Fmgs on Mcdu, we are automatically presented with aircraft status page. If not, just press data and aircraft status. Here you check the engine type, navigation database and performance degradation factor. Then click Init. Init stands for initialization and has two pages, A and B. Init A is where you initialize the flight plan. Fill all blanks on this page. Then move to flight plan and fill it up from departure all the way to your alternate. Remember, your destination is not the end of the flight plan, the alternate is. While you are filling up the route, a trick to make it faster is you can insert just the airways on VIA and check if the waypoint they cross over is the one you expect. If it is, great. If not, just change it. Secondary flight plan you can prepare for a possible alternate scenario. Situations like a possible runway change on departure, immediate return in case of emergency, or routing to a takeoff alternate should be considered. Use it according to your own needs. On RadNav you can insert any useful information to back up your departure. Typical examples are MSA references or radio aids from conventional departures, just in case. Now we move to the performance bit. We do so by pressing Init page again, and this time we move to the second page, Init B. Fill in the zero fuel information, weight and CG, block fuel, trip wind, and check or set the computed fuel with your flight plan. It's important to make sure your alternate fuel and final reserve fuel are correct, since those together totalize your minimum diversion fuel, and therefore you want to have correct data inserted so the Fmgs can give you proper feedback. Moving to a performance page, insert your speeds, flap and trim setting, flex temperature if that's the case, check or set your transition altitude, noise abatement departure procedure, and minimum engine out acceleration. Insert takeoff shift in case of departing from an interception, but if you have GPS primary, this is not required. Progress page you can insert any waypoint you want to have situation awareness about it. Check GPS primary, and check your optimum and recommended maximum altitudes. If you noticed, I didn't insert any trip wind on init B page. For optimum use of your equipment in longer flights, instead of average trip winds, you may want to insert accurate route winds. Despite of this being a short flight, I'm going to show you how it's done. Any vertical revision or init A, you have access to wind page. Wind is divided by climb, cruise, descent and alternate. You don't need to insert the wind for every waypoint along the route. The data you insert on a waypoint will be carried forward to the subsequent ones. So you only need to update the data at waypoints where a significant change occurs. Airbus recommends that the new entry should be done every time the wind direction or intensity changes by more than 30 degrees or 30 knots. Easy to remember. For alternate, it only allows us to insert average alternate wind. Before finish, check if the SID on your database has all correct tracks, distances and constraints according to the charts. To do so, change your ND view to plan and scroll across the relevant waypoints you want to check on your Fmgs, allowing you to read and see all info and checking it against your charts. Now, just to wrap it with a safety tip, when PM returns from the walk-around check, is going to check all entries on Fmgs. A good way to cross-check the routing is by reading the routing inserted on Fmgs and cross-checking that versus the operational flight plan. To do so, PF press data page and move to its second page. It's going to find pilot routes. Insert a name you want to give it, usually the flight number, and store the active flight plan on it. Then PF can read the route from Fmgs while PM cross-checks it from the operational flight plan to make sure they match. Or you can just check point by point if you so prefer. To conclude the check, also check total distance and time.
Yeah, I don't have one for 1637. Did you say you found for 1635 or 37?
Alright, this is how you set up your Fmgs. To finish cockpit preparation, just proceed with a both pilot seated flow, brief, and you're ready to go. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and let me know if you would like to see some more in-depth stuff. Hope you learned something new today. See you next time. You have controls.